New York City, I'm gonna be inside of you September 8th, Friday, 10 p.m. at Union Hall in Brooklyn. We got Sabrina Wu from Joyride on the lineup, Maddie Smith from MTV's Wild 'N Out, Michael Rowland from Comedy Central, and last but not least, my boy Mike Nguyen from the Asian Not Asian podcast. So if you guys want to see us do stand-up comedy, come check it out. Tickets are available at fumiabe.com or the episode description below. See you there.
A happy wife is a happy life. And a stomach full of rice.
By the way, Steffi, I was wondering, we did it one time, but you used to like make songs, like a theme song.
Oh, yeah.
And I was wondering if you could just start, and then whenever you're done with the song, I'll intro it.
Hey, Cash Cuties, won't you come hang out with us tonight? Oh, you and I, Fumi, let's do it and make some money. Cash Cuties.
Welcome to another episode of Cash Cuties, the super personal finance podcast where we analyze our friends' credit card statements and judge their spending habits with love. I'm your host, Fumi Abe.
And I'm Steffie Bake.
A.k.a. composer, Steffie Bake.
Thank you. If you're listening on your Apple Pod app, please leave us a review and hit follow on Spotify and sub to our YouTube channel for the video version of this podcast. All the links are available in the episode description below.
Hey, and quick shout out to our Dono Daddies. These are people who give us money on Patreon. What is Patreon? It is the best way to support the podcast. If you want to support this operation, if you want to support me and Steffi's lifestyles, expensive ass lifestyles, a lot of croissants, a lot of coffees, a lot of sports cars. Okay, if you want to support us,
sexy.
Please go to patreon.com/cashcutiespod. And in return for your donation, you get like bonus episodes and behind the scenes stuff. We have, I think, 3 or 4 bonus episodes, and we're releasing a couple a month. So check that out if you want more of this bullshit. Emma M, $5. Thank you so much.
Sarah B, $5. Thank you so much.
And April T, $5.
Wow, it's only mommies. Because mommies are the best. Let's be real.
Women are thriving these days, financially, I think.
You think you think the men aren't thriving? You think that's why they're not giving us money?
Yeah.
That's all it is?
That's all.
You just think women are all just thriving?
Yeah. Based on this, I think that's what's happening in the world.
Why do you think that is? Is the movie Barbie? Is that that's all? That was sole reason why women are making money.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you saw Barbie and Oppenheimer, who was thriving in that movie? You think Oppenheimer with with his emotional issues and creating a device that destroyed the world, or Barbie, who's like, I actually never saw Barbie, but I'm assuming it was.
But
much
you watched
happier.
Oppenheimer?
Yeah, I had to. You know what I'm saying?
No, for the culture or for your Japanese
because it was like a Japanese. I was like, I thought maybe there'd be like a role in there that I could have auditioned for, but they didn't show any Asians.
Yeah, isn't that?
I know. You would think that there's one Japanese guy who's like, that's hot or something. You know what I'm saying? Like something. Jesus. That's really inappropriate.
That's so inappropriate. But I guess it's your people.
But what's so crazy to have a movie about the atomic bomb, and then just like not show any victims. There was one victim, but you couldn't even see this person's face. That actor could have been not Asian. You know what I mean? Did you watch it?
I fell asleep.
It was long.
No, you know what? I didn't fall asleep. I'm proud of myself. But I wanted to fall asleep like 10 times, and I was resentful that I even went with my friends because I already I'd been asked multiple times from the same friends, and I said I didn't want to go
to see that specific movie.
Yeah, but they were like, "Oh, we'll buy the ticket and we'll go have a fun time."
Boys or girls?
Obviously boys, no girls. I don't know any girls that want to watch that movie.
Dude, it was depressing as fuck, bro.
It was depressing, but I honestly thought it was just. I feel bad to say that, but it was boring.
I think it was really long, and I totally understand that. Also, like the Christopher Nolan style. If you're not into that style,
yeah, I think like the 2 roles, the female roles that were in it, were very, to me, misogynistic.
Oh, what, Emily Blunt's character? What the hell was that?
Both of them, Emily and the other. What's
the
other?
Russian spy.
Yeah,
Pugh, Florence.
Florence Pugh.
Yeah.
Pugh.
Yes.
I mean, do we? It was just like, why? What's the point? What's the point of showing the top? Like, what was the point of it? There was no reason for the story of her being naked.
It's crazy because that character, obviously those characters are real, but that Florence Pugh's character, I don't know much about her, but from what I saw, I was like, that's a really interesting character. I feel like the movie, you could do a whole spin-off movie about that
Yeah,
woman
I wanted to watch that
who
more
was,
so.
used to be communist, maybe a Russian spy. I'm like, that's a fucking cool story. But yeah, they just kind of made them both like, the men are doing science and the women are getting fucked. That was sort of like the whole thing.
And like Christopher Nolan is like known, I guess, for having an incel following. Did you hear about this?
I don't know.
Yeah, because of Batman, remember? And like was it the Joker or was it Batman?
Oh,
where there was like a
Joker's all
shooting.
incel-y?
No, there was like a shooting at
Yes!
the theater, and that was his. So
that was
they
forever
love
ago.
incels like love him. So
Whoa.
it kind of like all fits in. And so like,
yeah, fan service.
But yeah, I went and like the guys that I went with, I turned and they both were falling asleep too.
Oh,
but it was
hilarious.
late also.
Okay.
But Barbie was a fun time and I enjoyed it and there was a lot to learn.
Anyways, we're looking for a producer. So if you want to be a producer on this and help us make this look better, if you have a studio or something, we just need more people on the team helping us out. So if you live in the LA area and you are interested in helping out doing video stuff.
But can we be specific? You know what we want is someone who is able to set the video.
Yes, a video. So we're looking for, this is my ideal candidate. Somebody living in LA who has like a garage or someplace in his own apartment or house where we can come there and record. And in that space, he has lights and cameras and stuff, and he's going to help us record. I will still edit it, and I have guys who make clips for us, so I don't need this person to edit the podcast. I just need them to help with the tech stuff.
We need a physical
location.
place or like a producer type of person who just sets everything up. That's it.
That's kind of what we're looking for. So if you can help us out, please reach out to us on Instagram or email us at catchcutiespodcast@gmail.com.
Awesome.
Let's move on. I was in Hawaii, and shout out to all the people helping out in Hawaii. It's fucking crazy over there. That fire should happen like literally the second I landed. I like read up all about it. I landed like Tuesday, and that's kind of when it happened. So it was kind of unfortunate, and I didn't really post about it because
how did that make you feel? Did you feel weird about being there?
A little bit, but it was weird because just like any tragedy thing that happens in this country, I feel like if it's not happening within the place you can see, like obviously you still feel bad, but you don't really feel it. Like it was on Maui, right? I wasn't on Maui, so like, right? Like,
but you knew what was happening.
Of
and
course,
it had to do
it's
with,
awful.
Yeah.
But anyways, I went to Hawaii, and we've been talking about this for a minute, and I wanted to show you my finances of how much it cost, how much I spent, how much Maria spent. And I'll tell you, I want to show you what I bought and stuff. And I just wanted to get your take on it.
Yeah, I'm so curious because off the jump, you did send you at the market with a basket of food, like you purchasing market groceries.
Oh, groceries.
Right.
At
And
Foodland, which
that's
is like a
fascinating already to me.
Yeah.
So I love how that's why I have so many questions for you. But let's get into it. Let's get into
the finances.
So you went there with your partner,
I went
right?
with my partner.
And I want to know who contributed what. How did you guys break down the finances for the two of you?
So we just kind of like, we didn't have a Excel sheet for vacation purposes. So we just kind of, took turns paying for stuff. But just an overall summary, this is including flights.
Did it sound kind of weird?
No, you sound good. Click on this one. This is including flights. I spent on the entire vacation. I was in Hawaii for probably like 5 or 6 days. I spent about $1,100.
Wait, with the flights?
With the flight, $1,100.
Did you use points to get tickets or anything?
No.
Or $1,100, and that's only your side, or
That's
is it
only
with
my
her?
side, and that's including food and stuff. And then Maria spent almost $1,800 on this trip, and that's including flight.
And how does that make you feel? Just the way you said that to me.
So
To me, I felt like you said it in a way that was competitive and that you won.
No.
Or there was some judgment, and I want to know what you
so
thought.
if you scroll down here, this is sort of a relationship right now. Keep going down. So Maria paid for 62% of the entire trip, and I paid for about 38% of the entire trip.
I mean, it makes sense. You don't have a job, and she has a job, so that makes sense to me. Like, she's kind of balling, and she's obviously like kind of like your sugar mama.
She's kind of my sugar mama right now.
Yeah.
I actually think.
How does it feel to be taken care of?
I'll be honest with you, like, as I'm living my life and going on vacation and we're taking each other's paying for stuff, I don't really feel it. But looking at this percentage, it's like, damn, that's a lot more. You know, like I really thought things are more like 45, 55, but like 38, 62.
Yeah.
That's you know, that's overwhelmingly her. You know,
we love her.
And
for
she
doing
paid
this.
for. I mean, the reason why it's so high is because you know, our friend let us stay for free, so we gave her a $300 gift certificate to some fucking place called Alo or something.
Wait, how much?
$300.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's pretty
so she
good.
let us stay for 6 days and let us use
really
their car.
Nice. 300 is like how much you'd pay for maybe one day, one night of
exactly.
Airbnb.
So we're like, no, it's totally fine.
That's nice. Alo's a good place. She works out or something.
Yeah, she's into yoga and shit.
300 is really like a hefty amount. That's a good amount, I think, for a card.
We were thinking about it and we're like, even if you gave her $500, it's still cheaper than like, dude, free car, free place to stay. You know what I mean?
Who thought of that number? Did you guys come up with it together?
Ooh, that's a good question. She just did this on her own, so I didn't really consult her. She
so
just
you
went
had
out and
nothing to do with this.
I had nothing.
So you've been putting Maria to work, and she's paying for stuff.
Okay, so while we were staying at my friend's place, Maria like just didn't see that there was a screen door, and she just walked right through the screen door and completely destroyed it. So part of the reason why she spent more money than me is, if you see, I highlighted in red, she spent $112 at Home Depot. We bought a screen door there for over $100, and then when we got there, we realized it doesn't fit in the Prius, so we had to pay for like a $40 Uber XL to get the thing back to our place. And then she had to pay $65 to TaskRabbit for a guy to come and get rid of the broken screen door.
That's already almost $210 or something.
Easily. So that's part of the reason why she spent more money than me. And obviously
and why she probably felt guilty and got the fucking 300. Now I kind of get it more.
No, the gift card she bought before we went out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I was wondering if you ever have you ever stayed at someone's house and you like broken something, and how have you dealt with that financially?
That's never happened to me.
Not even like spilling a wine on a couch during a party or something.
I've never broken.
That's actually really rare, because we're not doing this on purpose. Sometimes it happens, you know, like you're.
But have you done it? Because this is Maria's fault. This wasn't.
When I was younger,
fault.
I broke my friend's sword, like by accident. We were like sword fighting, and he like was really into medieval stuff, and he had this wooden sword, and I like pretended to like hit the ground with it, but the ground was cement, so the sword broke, and he was like devastated, and I was like. Immediately I was like, oh no, I'm sorry, I can like pay for it, I can replace it. And I remember he was crying. He was such a fucking dork. He was like, it's not that easy, I got this on a medieval festival. And I didn't know what a medieval festival was, because I was like 9.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know what that is, but I'm happy to like pay for it or whatever.
Damn.
But you've never
oh my god, you know
any?
what? Now that you say it, I do remember one of my boyfriends from like 10 years ago had a new iPhone.
Okay.
And I just opened the door to his car, and I was holding his phone, and then I dropped it on the face, and the screen
cracked.
broke.
Oh, I see.
And it was literally, we had just started dating, and he was like so into me. It was like 20 days into it.
So you didn't have to pay for that.
No.
God damn, because the guilt was killing Maria. She was like, oh my god, like I'm being a bad guest, like she's never gonna let us stay
It's
here.
different. Borrowing a house is different than if it was like.
Yeah, but this screen door is worth
different.
less than the iPhone.
I know he didn't want me to. He was really nice. He didn't want me to pay for it. I offered to pay for it. It's not that but I offered like one. I didn't have any money. He had money.
Oh,
he
I
came
see.
from money. So I was just like,
it always goes
but
back to that. I guess.
bad. I felt bad, and I said I would pay for it. I said it would take a little bit, and he's like, no, don't worry about it. But I ended up staying with him for a few years, so maybe that was an investment. You know?
Yeah.
If he did make a big deal out of it, we would have been together.
I think people have different relationships with money and guilt. Like I think if I were in your shoes, I wouldn't care that I was dating. I'd be like, separately as a person, I would need to replace this to move on with my life.
I would do that with a friend, 100%. But I think with dating, it's different for me.
And how so?
I think because we're going to be together, so now all of a sudden we're like this code. You know what? My recent guy that I dated, he had just bought a brand new, like this book he had. It was like a photography book by someone famous, and it was really expensive, probably like $60. He put it on his wooden desk. He's one of those coaster guys. Like he has coasters everywhere. You see my place. Yeah. I have coasters, but the drinks are never on the coaster, and I don't give a fuck.
Right.
He has wood. Everything is wood. There is nothing. And he's like, don't put it on there. I put it next to the book on his like oak new like vintage table.
A drink
next to the book,
and he
just gotten it and like unwrapped it like the day before, and
Okay.
I spilled it. I had my
knocked it
foot
over.
on the table. I had the foot on the table.
What was the
and then I knocked
content
it
of the
over.
drink? Coffee, water,
Coffee.
and then so what happened?
Always coffee. And then it spilled all over his book.
And then what did you do?
And then I was like, oh my God, because I knew how much he loved it because he told me how he was excited
so what
about
did you
it.
do?
So I immediately was like, oh my God, let me order a new one. So I went onto my Amazon and I ordered him a new book.
Oh, you did?
No, of course I did,
Okay.
because I was new to the dating, but I don't know. I think I'm telling you, I'm different since I've gone to therapy. I don't think I would, if this was me 10 years ago, I don't think I would have done it.
You don't
But
think you would have replaced that?
I don't think I would have replaced it like that phone. You're right. During that time, when I was younger, I think that I was like, it was almost like, you know, we're codependent. It's fine. And he really was like, it's fine. But also, that guy, again, had money. He would throw money.
So,
versus this guy, I think he respects art. He respects like his wood table. It's a little different. I don't know. The book versus maybe a piece of technology too. Like,
That's really interesting.
There's a lot of layers.
That's really interesting because again, you can
I also respect him.
You can again argue that like, so it's interesting, like the way you perceive it depends on like your relationship with them and how much they're making and how much that thing means to them, as opposed to like, I think for me, when I break something, the other person is irrelevant. It's like, I need to replace this for myself. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel guilty independent
No, I
of
did
the
feel
other person.
guilty with this guy though. But
With
I'm
the
trying to
coffee.
explain why. I'm trying to figure out what about it.
And I think
right?
that makes sense. That's to me, that makes sense as something that you would do, just knowing this couple.
I mean, if I did this, if you know that I would, if something happened, you immediately know I would take care of it. You know what I mean?
And that's why the iPhone thing is surprising to me, because
And I think I was a different person then. I was so crazy. I would when I used to be so fucking jealous a long time ago. I'm not like that. You know me now. Like
what?
just them talking to anybody else. Like if I found out that women, just anybody, like it didn't matter. Like I was so jealous. I remember one time I took his phone because I found out that he was talking to other girls that he had talked to in the past. But we weren't even like an official couple, but we were dating for like 5 months in. I took it. I was in such a rage. I took his phone and I threw it out the window, like the car window. Like I was so enraged.
And did you replace that phone?
No, it didn't break because I did it on grass at my house. I knew it wasn't gonna break, but there was a potential, right? But I didn't care, kind of. But I did care. Like I was still like planned, a little bit.
That's crazy.
But like I would never ever do that now. Like you would have to. I mean, you would have had to like done something really harmful to a family member for me to be that angry. I think what I'm saying is that person back then didn't understand consequences, didn't understand or feel as much guilt as I do now. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
of
like,
course.
I think generally if something like that happened now, I would feel so bad. But if they really don't want me to pay for something and they're like, it's fine. They had, you know what? He had insurance. Anyways, the iPhone. But it doesn't matter. I still wouldn't have,
right.
I would have.
Yeah.
So did you get in a lot of trouble when you would break things at home? Or like you spilled stuff? Did you get in a lot of trouble?
I like talked to my therapist about why. And actually, like, Maria and I got in kind of a weird argument because I felt like she wasn't replacing this door fast enough. I was like, if I broke somebody's door, I would cancel everything I'm doing that day to replace this door and get it fixed.
I would feel that way too.
And she wasn't doing it. And it made me feel weird. And I was talking to my therapist about it. And I think it's because, like, when it comes to, like, responsibility and stuff, like, my dad, well, this is getting really personal, so we can edit this out if it's boring. But my dad has a brother who I've never met because he got divorced and had a kid and then made my grandma raise that kid. And so my dad saw that as pathetic. He was like, you can't even raise your own fucking kid. Like, you have to make our mom do this. You're pathetic. And he never so I have a cousin that I've never met before. He won't let us do it. And that I heard that story for so long.
Why did your cousin have anything wrong with it? Why can't you meet the cousin?
Because he doesn't want me to meet the family. He doesn't want me to meet his brother.
But the cousin is. I
don't even know what he looks like. I don't even know what she looks
saying.
like. I don't even know her name. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't even find her on Facebook.
Curious?
Yeah, of course I'm curious. But like,
Have you searched behind his back?
I'm 33 now. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, the point is, like, it was in my family. It was always like, if you can't take care of shit, like problems on your own, you're pathetic. That was like the energy. And so I think that's why if I break something, or cause trouble, I will cancel everything in my life to fix that and address that as soon as possible. Because in my head, if I don't do that, I'm like pathetic. You know what I mean? I think that's where that urgency to replace something comes from. Yeah.
Interesting. Do you feel, but knowing that, do you recognize that you're not pathetic?
Well, yeah, because we fixed it though. We fixed it really fast. So.
Well, did you make Maria feel bad during that time?
A little bit.
Her feel pathetic?
I don't think I made her feel pathetic, but she started crying immediately. Not because of me. She broke it and then she started crying. And I thought that was weird because, again, in my mind, I'm like, if you break it, let's just fix it. Like, we just have to fix it. It's not.
Well, she has a different relationship with
exactly.
Things.
And that's what I'm learning.
Did you ask her why she was crying?
Yeah, it's just people have different relationships with stuff.
No, I mean, like, did you ask her like why you think she's crying? Like,
Well, because she felt bad. That's how she processed guilt. I processed guilt by like speed and money and fixing. You know,
you didn't get mad at her.
Oh, I didn't get mad.
You didn't create urgency
because I think, like, if you stayed at my apartment for whatever reason and you're like, hey, I accidentally broke your laptop, but I got you a new one, I'd be like, no worries. Like, you got me a new one. Thank you. Like, it wouldn't affect my friendship with you at all, you know? And that's why, to me, it wasn't an emotional thing because I was like, I know my friend's not gonna, like, not be friends with me anymore because I broke her fucking screen door. Like, it's not a big deal. Let's just fix it.
I do find it fascinating when people don't, it's basically like, it's a value system thing, like, where they're not like following through or like they're
what do you mean? What are you talking about?
They're not taking responsibility. It's like a responsibility thing, right? Like when you don't like if you break something and then you try to fix it, you don't fix it.
You don't fix
That's
it.
You're not responsible.
Yes.
And you're not accountable.
Yes.
And I mean, it sounds like you definitely didn't grow up. I mean, it sounds like Maria too. She would have just done it later.
No, she would have done it later. Like, the thing is, the end result is the same. But I think I've never broken something with someone else before who was that close to me. Like, it's always just been like 100% my fault. Like, oh, I spilled coffee on your couch. I'll take care of it. So I've never like been on vacation with somebody and witnessed somebody else go through it. And so it was interesting seeing how people deal with guilt and the money of it all.
I've had a close friend of mine recently break my phone.
Okay. How? Water?
No. So I was holding my phone on a bunch of stuff and I was walking through, like my friend was holding the door.
Yeah.
And he walked through it. And then I walked through it, but he closed it on me.
He closed it on purpose?
No, not on purpose. But the phone fell.
That's not his fault at all.
Is it not his fault?
You're saying there was a person in front of you going through a door. He did not see you.
He was holding so he was helping me with my stuff and he was holding my phone.
Oh, he was holding your phone.
While opening the door.
Okay. I thought you said you were holding your phone and then...
No.
Okay, gotcha.
I did say that. I meant he was holding a bunch of stuff and I was carrying a bunch of stuff because we were late for something and we had to go through the door and he was carrying my phone as well.
Gotcha.
And it fell.
Broke.
And it broke.
And then what happened?
We didn't know what to do, right? Because that's kind of...
It's kind of tricky.
It's tricky because he was helping me.
Yeah.
But he still broke it. But do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird. Yeah. Like a weird place.
Did he offer?
So, initially he didn't.
Amazing. How did the conversation go
This
down?
was like a very... Because that's like a middle between place. It could go either way.
Because you probably felt guilty that he even had your phone on him, right? Because you're you're both doing this task.
Yes, but I wanted him to... Initial reaction was, oh shit, I have to get a new phone.
Yes.
I'm going to check if insurance, which I had.
Okay.
But I wanted him to still
play the part of like,
be sorry or offer something. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like
something that you can turn down. Right? You could be, I'll pay for it. No, it's okay. I have insurance. But like, it's like the pulling out the check.
There's something there.
100%. You need that.
Because imagine if he just was, oh, actually that is what he did. He like kind of giggled, was like, oops. That is what he did.
Ooh, that pissed me off.
And then I was
pissed me off.
In my head, I was like, that like triggered me, right? I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, but I was like, bro, you broke my phone. And then he's like, it was an accident. I was like, I know. And then it was like awkward, right?
Whoa.
And then he's like, do you have insurance?
No.
There was no sorry. There was no sorry. There was no
I don't like that.
I know, but he's a close friend.
No, but that, you know what?
It's just a weird...
That's a reflection of like how he grew up. Like he never learned how to.
I know,
like,
but how could I blame him for that? Because he didn't come from like
not a blame, but you're allowed to have your own You're allowed to be like, if it's a close friend, you're allowed to be like, hey man, that was kind of weird. Like that was kind of, you should have said sorry.
Okay, so I did get to that point. Of course,
did.
you know me.
Yeah,
like
I know
I'm
you.
gonna speak my mind.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, you're not even gonna like say sorry.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, but it's your fault.
What? Deflecting.
He deflected, but I don't think he meant to, but that was his first reaction. He was like, I'm not
scared.
responsible. Yeah. It was like a quick, like he was nervous. I didn't do anything, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, what? You're holding my stuff? And he's like, yeah, I was carrying it for you. And I was like, yeah, but like, don't you understand? Like, you're the one that still dropped it. You're the one that went through the door. Like, I'm not telling you need to fix it, but at least like recognize, take some fault for this.
Yeah.
And he's like, whatever. And he like walks away. He gets mad
because he doesn't know how to handle it.
He doesn't know how to handle it. He's not developed.
It's very childish.
I think when people's things get triggered or they don't know how to handle things emotionally, they turn into a child.
Well, 100%.
They go to their immediate place of the childhood.
Yeah.
Especially if they haven't gone to therapy. They don't know how to like.
But it's crazy because like breaking something is like not a very advanced thing. It's like a thing. We've all broken things. We've all done things we weren't supposed to.
We all know it's kind of bad.
Yeah. Was he? Is he Asian?
Yes.
Okay, I was gonna say. I thought maybe he was an Asian person.
No, he was Asian.
Moving? Were you moving? Is that what this was?
No. We were just taking stuff up. Like it was for work, so we had a bunch of shit. So, and then I was like, we were like silent for a bit. It was like weird because we're both avoidant. And then I was like, so at some point, literally 30 minutes later, I was like, okay, I have insurance. I'm going to go figure this out. And then he's like, I'll go with you. Hey, if it doesn't work out, like, don't worry about it. I'll help you. He said, he didn't say what he would do.
He'll pay for some of it.
Yeah. So
but that was nice.
Yeah. But he decided to go with me.
That's really nice.
So I think he came around, thought about it.
He had to process it a little bit.
And we both had to be adults because like I recognized that something had happened to him at that moment because again, psychology, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he couldn't see past that, right? But but still in the moment I was like, what the fuck? Because that's my thing. I'm like, how could you not see that this is not
yes, it's so obvious
ethically like fucked up in a way. And you're also my friend.
Yes. God, this is such a triggering conversation because in the beginning we're like, we've never broken anything. Now I remember when I was moving apartments in college, my friend's girlfriend, who I never fucking liked, she helped us move. Like she was just around. She wasn't really helping us move. She was also like really small and couldn't carry anything. And I used to be in a band in college, and I had an instrument called the cajon, which is like a Peruvian box that you sit on. Sometimes it's used in bossa nova music. You've probably seen it in Brazil.
I've seen it. I know what you're talking about.
It's a very, very beautiful
It's like
instrument.
an apple box, a big apple box.
It was probably like $400. It's a percussion
I always
instrument.
thought those are kind of bullshit, though. I'm sorry for anyone that plays it.
It's an amazing instrument. It's an amazing instrument.
It looks like a box.
It is a box. Cajon means box in Spanish or something, or Portuguese maybe. Anyways,
what is it?
CAJON.
Cajon?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think it means box. Anyways, so I had this instrument, right?
Mm-hmm.
She is carrying it up the stairs. She drops it, right? Again, it's a wooden instrument, and it didn't crack or anything, but it just never sounded the same. And she never apologized or offered to replace it, like because it didn't.
So you're gonna blame it? I see why you were asking if the other person is a different race because this girl's a different race.
Well, this is like my friend's white girlfriend. My friend's Chinese, but it was his white
you
girlfriend.
didn't even have to say it. I knew you were gonna go there. There's something there.
And I was just like, dude, like. And at the time, I was like studying music in college. Like I'm like very serious about music.
That's
like
fucked up.
And yes, this wasn't $1,000, but like I actively played this thing.
Fucked up.
And I'm like, dude, like what the fuck, man? Like,
what did you say to her? Or were you too nice?
I think I was too like immature to say anything. And it was also my friend's girlfriend, and I thought maybe he would say something, but like nothing happened. And then she was like, does it work? And at the time, I kind of played it. And it's not like it wasn't not working. But then like later as I played it, I'm like, oh no, there's like a weird rattle. And you can't fix it. It's not a computer, right? It's not like, let's replace this part. It's an acoustic instrument. So everything has to be aligned perfectly. It's all wood. There's like some springs. Like I don't know how to fucking fix that shit, you know?
Oh, there's stuff in the box.
Yeah, there's like springs and shit.
That.
It's not just a much more complicated than that. So basically what I'm saying is like that was such, I just remember that.
That's
and I hated that moment.
Dude,
that's so
shitty.
I just thought it was so disrespectful to not even
it's
offer.
So disrespectful.
It's the offer, right? Even if she couldn't pay for it, just the offer of like, just look guilty.
It's manners.
It's manners. It's fucking manners, man.
And you're too much of a
I'm Mr. Manner.
You're also like you're like empathizing and being like, maybe she feels bad, but the fact that you don't even recognize human qualities of like feeling bad in her, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know, you need her to be human a bit.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, be caring.
She did that thing you just said earlier. She goes, oops. And I'm like,
Bro.
if I hear oops one more fucking time,
Bro.
I'm gonna punch someone in the... Dude, I hate that. I hate that reaction. Oops. What
That's
are you, fucking
crazy.
3-year-old? Like, what are you talking about?
You know what it feels like? I feel like the younger sibling would do that more than an older sibling.
She was the oldest in her
She
family.
was?
Yeah. Now, she got married to my friend, actually, so now I can't say anything. But
Oh my God,
they
really?
have kids. Yeah, they have kids, and now they moved to China and shit. It's a whole thing.
Really? You should
Yeah,
go
but we just
break.
never- I
Would
never
you
really
ever
long.
go and drop one of her shits and then go,
And be like, oops,
This is like-
Cajon 2009.
this is your revenge story.
Yeah, I pretend like I'm visiting
we
my
gotta
friend.
plan. Yeah, we gotta plan you as
Yeah.
a trip over there just so you could have your little revenge moment.
Yeah. I just had a horrible thought / joke, but I'm not. She had a new baby, so I was like, go drop her baby.
No, oh my
I'm not going to
don't
do
even
that.
Put that out there.
That's a terrible, just a comedian thought that I had that I'll never say again. I'm sorry. Hey cuties, we want to take a quick break from the show and tell you that Steffie and I started a Patreon.
What is Patreon? Patreon is the best way to support us and this podcast. Fans can subscribe to our page for however much money you want to give, and in return, you get rewards and perks.
That's right. We'll be releasing bonus episodes where we answer fan questions and get into more of our chaotic lives.
Yes. Just go to patreon.com/cashcutiespod and help us grow.
That's patreon.com/cashcutiespod. Back to the show.
Yay.
We're back with everybody's favorite segment. It is mailbag. It is
Is this your-
unofficial. No, I don't know. It's like we just answer fan questions. Somebody sent us this today. This is not necessarily a fan question. It's something they found on Reddit, but they wanted our opinion on it, and I thought it was kind of interesting. It was a very long post, so I kind of shortened it, and I will read it right now. This is: am I the asshole for expecting my wife to support my elderly parents? My wife has a high-paying job and earns significantly more than I do. I work as a teacher and make around $40K, while she works in private sector and makes about $300 to $400K after tax. We split our finances equitably, with her paying 70% to my 30%. Very much like my Hawaii vacation. A little background: her parents both immigrated to this country so she and her sisters could succeed in life, and now all have very high paying jobs, one working in tech and the other being a surgeon. Meanwhile, my parents worked government jobs and my sister lives on benefits, so we are relatively low income. Recently, her parents retired and she and her sister give them about $2,000 every month, which I find ridiculous because they have pensions. Why do they need $6,000? She assured me this money does not come out of our joint account. However, my parents were also retired and could use the financial help. She told me that if I could afford to send it from my own salary, I should. I was shocked and angry. My parents only had me to depend on, while her sisters made a lot of money, so her parents would be fine either way. My wife told her parents sacrificed a lot by moving to this country. It is her responsibility, and my parents should be my responsibility. She says I am being an asshole for asking her to support my parents when she has never put pressure towards me for not contributing more to our household. I just don't understand how she can be so cheap because she earns so much more than me. Am I the asshole for asking my wife to support my family? Wow.
I had no idea AITA meant am I
Yeah,
the
it means am
asshole?
I the asshole. It's like a Reddit term.
Yeah, I see.
This
that.
is interesting. You know what?
You go first because usually I go first, and
Yeah.
I want to go off here.
So I think it's kind of fucked because like I do feel bad, but he brings this whole like immigrant story. Like I think he's white and his wife is an immigrant, and so it's like, oh, but they're doing so well or whatever the fuck, and I just think like I do feel bad, but it is his own responsibility, his own parents. You cannot expect anyone else just because they make more than you. You're not entitled to their money whatsoever, even if you're together. And it sounds like she's paying for a lot of his shit anyways, because like around the house you said it's 30-70, you know? So like I do feel bad, but there is that element. I also think from like just a comedic thing, I think immigrants turn Republican so fast the second they make it in this country, right? Like literally, like they come here with nothing, right? My parents came here, they're working at a dishwasher at a deli. Well, 20 years later, now they do programming at AT&T, and now they make $300,000, right? The second they fucking make it, they don't want to share their wealth anymore. When they move here, they're like, let's go to the Korean church and we're all gonna give each other money and support each other's businesses. But the second they make it, they're like, I'm not giving anybody else any more money. And I find that so fucking funny, but also very relatable, because I get that.
That's
it's like
funny.
They probably had nothing growing up, right? Now she's a surgeon. That's amazing. They had nothing growing up. And so like, I do think that's just like a thing to acknowledge. But yeah, this just sounds like I don't just think he just sounds like an entitled white guy.
Actually, the Korean community that moved out here, especially I know the Koreans, as well as like the Korean Brazilians, and just like Koreans that immigrated out here, all help each other out a lot. Yeah. And they have, I don't know if the Japanese have this, but I haven't heard of it, but I know the Chinese do this too, is that they have like piles of money, whether it's church, like, everyone meets at church or not. And they take this money and they take turns letting people borrow it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I heard that. Yeah. My friend Brian Park's parents did that. And that's how they bought like a Dunkin' Donuts chain or something like that.
Yeah. And so I think a lot of immigrant families do that. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Like I think Cambodians do that with the donuts. So this is like actually a very, like, it's still ongoing. Yeah. And I don't remember growing up like hearing about it much, because I think they would keep finances secret. But your parents, I know my grandparents helped other people, and I think that's such a beautiful thing. Sure. And it's an amazing thing that
does that end at some point though? Because I know with like, if you take like Vietnamese American immigrants, for example, mm-hmm. they come here, they're refugees, right? Mm-hmm. But then they spend some time here, they're assimilating, they fucking make it. And a lot of Vietnamese Americans, not the younger generation, but they're Republican. So they're like, no immigrants. They love Reagan. They hate Bernie. They hate communism, right? Yeah. So just funny to be like, oh yeah, immigrants, like let us in. But then the second they come in, they're like, no more. We were the last ones. Because like money can just fucking change your mind like that, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I see them all still helping each other out. They just do it on different levels and higher levels of, instead of it's like small pools, it's like huge investments that go into homes and things like that. Yeah. As they've grown and, like you said, made more money. So this is a really hard one for me to answer, because I feel like I think it is wild. When I think of it, I think it's kind of wild that he's asking for money, and he's like has reasons to ask for the money, to be like expecting of it. Yeah. I think it's one thing if he asks and she says, I understand, and it's compelling of a story, whatever it is, the reasoning, and she wants to help out. I think it's cool. But I don't think he should expect it at all. I think he's like talking about the government jobs. That's their choice. And I think her family coming out here and working really hard, that was something they did. And so she's also supporting more of him. So like, unless she's down or there's some other I think they could have more of a conversation. I think they should figure some other way out where it's not just like, hey, you need to like help with my family and you should help me. I think it should be like another conversation of like, in return, I could do this other thing. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like yes. He needs to put in his own work. Cause I think that if I was in this situation and I was her, I'm pretty sure I would want to help my significant other out and their family. I'm just that type of person because I'm very family oriented. But it would have to be like, I know there's something other than just the fact that, oh, well, they had government jobs and you make more money. Like, that's not cool. Right. That's not enough.
That's a good point. Instead of being like, can I have money? If we had framed it like, hey, I want to support my parents, but as you know, I can't pay for them right now. Could you help me get a job at your company?
Yes.
Could you help me connect with somebody who could get me out of my industry so I can make more than $40,000 in 2023, which is nothing. That's crazy. I think showing some sort of initiative, people can respect and are more willing to help out, right? Yeah. Like, because it doesn't, because then that message is you got more money than me, so you should give me some of that because to make things that's like you're being fucking lazy,
No, because he's already like, the thing is she's already helping the same way like you are with Martha, and Martha helps you out because Maria. Maria, I'm so sorry. Maria helps you out because she cares about you and you guys are a unit.
Yes.
And that's fine and it's fair.
Yes.
but it's like different when you start adding more of your family members to it.
Yeah. It's it's like if you're together, I'll fuck with you,
Yeah.
but I'm not responsible for your cousins, your grandma, or all this shit.
Yeah. Unless, again, she wants to.
Right.
That's different. Like if she's like, yeah, I have extra money. I want them to also, whatever, benefit from that. That's a totally thing. I think they should also or they could put that money into some sort of fund, and whatever that money comes out, that's actually their own money, their personal money, but maybe whatever it pays out can go to them or something, right? Yeah. Where it's anyways money that's maybe sitting on the bank.
Do you think, when I was reading this, I don't know if this is a problematic question, but do you think we would get a different reaction if, in this scenario, let's switch genders, if the man was the one making more money and the woman was the one who is asking the man to help her parents? Do you think we would be getting the same sort of emotions and things like that? Or do you think that changes things like a little bit?
Well, that's what's interesting about this question, is because I think it usually is the other way around.
Usually is the other way around.
Right.
Yeah. And it's so weird because...
Or back in the day.
He just sounds kind of whiny. I don't know. That's the vibe I got. I mean, I guess I do
he feels
feel
like
bad,
it's very expectant of him.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a huge, can you imagine dating someone making 400, like that's a lot. What is that? 10 tenfold,
times.
right?
10 times.
Tenfold.
Literally 10 times, yeah.
The amount of money.
Yeah.
Do you think that as a man, that would affect your ego?
I mean,
if Maria was making 400 and you're making...
I don't even think it's because she's a woman or whatever. It's just like this person I'm building my life with, that I'm supposed to like talk to every day, make decisions on. How can I feel like I'm an equal contributor if I'm only making 40? And again, if it was I make 100, you make $1 million, that's different. Because to me, 100 is a respectable salary. I work very hard, so I would feel like my opinion matters, and I can be independent. I can move out and be fine with 100,000. You just happen to make $1 million, and that's some crazy shit because you're sticking plastic straws in turtles' noses. You're doing some evil shit to make that much, right? But 40 to 400 is like. That balance is, I just feel like there's other issues in this marriage too, because if he's asking for this kind of complicated thing, like what else do you think he's asking for? Like literally, I'm sure his wife gets kind of annoyed. In fact, his wife is a fucking saint for staying with him for all this, because like 70-30 is pretty steep,
Damn. Yeah. Like,
I'm surprised I'm surprised a wife hasn't ever been like, don't you want to get a new job or something?
Maybe she has been. And that's why he's like resentful. Maybe
in the comment section, people are like, get another job. And he responded to it by saying like, he said he's like 46 and he's like, I just can't get another job because I'm too old, blah, blah, blah.
You could definitely you can do other things to make money. If you want to help your own family out, you can do that.
Yes.
The fact that they have, did it say anything about like, if they have government jobs, don't they get something from that, pensions or whatever? Like the government?
Yeah, there's a little bit of pension, yeah. But it's probably not that much money.
It said relatively low income. I wonder what that means.
Compared to the 400. I mean,
and sister lives. Why also, wait, the sister, I don't know if you need to incorporate the sister. Like, what is that? Sister lives on benefits?
He brought up his own sister.
Yeah.
Because his wife and his wife's sister both
make money.
They make a lot of money and they give money to their parents. And he's saying, why do you both need to give your parents money when me and my sister...
But why is that his... It's not her... She made that money.
I know. It's such a fucking,
if she wants to...
Yes. She can do what the fuck she wants with it.
That.
Yes.
Yeah. If it was the other way around, if it was a guy, it's same thing. It's his money.
Now, what would you do if you were in this situation? 5 years from now. You're a fucking movie star. You're making a lot of money. You're dating somebody who's making
I
like
have
50.
to really, really care about the guy. I have to know that he's doing something very passionate about his work.
Yeah.
And I have to know that, or he's doing like, maybe he's working in, he's like, what is it called? Like a nonprofit or something where
he's
it's just
a fucking
like
teacher. So yeah, he's kind of.
Oh, you're saying like he's actually my partner's a teacher in fun.
Oh,
I thought you meant like
yeah.
What I'm saying is like if I even am with someone like that, they have to show that they are aspirational or like in some other form, whether it's like giving back to the community or like that's why they make that much money.
Right.
I completely would be totally fine taking care of us.
Yeah.
Completely fine.
No, but what about
I would, yes.
And
Depending on, I have to like his family.
Yeah.
Right? At the end, do I like them?
Right.
are they there for us? Are they
Right.
good people? Now, if they're pieces of shit and they're being rude or whatever or expecting money, no.
Right.
I'm sorry, I can't do
Because
that.
you're right.
Would you say that? Would you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because sometimes like I've seen people where they're like really close with their in-laws. Like you go hang out
Yeah.
with your dad-in-law because you guys go fishing together. Like if you feel like they're like a big part of your life, then it becomes like one big family. And then I totally understand. But maybe they're not that close. I mean, judging from the way this man is speaking, I can only imagine that his relatives speak the same way.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I can deal with something like that.
I don't know. Yeah, right? Isn't it, in the end, isn't it all about whether we like them or not?
It
Like,
is. It's just like this whole like this immigrant thing really like upsets me. This like
Yeah, what the fuck?
it's
Honestly,
just like
they worked extra
They
hard.
worked so hard for this money. Let them fucking have it. It's insane. It's insane for him. I mean, if he is a white dude, which it just sounds like if he.
We want to believe it's a white
Like, the
dude
way-
asking
I mean,
an
you ever-
Is she Asian? Do we decide that she's Asian?
Because
Or-
okay, so they wrote in pounds. This is in the UK, so I assume she's Indian. That's what I'm thinking.
Whoa.
I think she's Indian, and I think this man is white. And you know, and if
He
he's a-
sounds petty.
you know, sometimes we think like, how come sometimes like how come not all but certain white Americans can't understand the way we see the world? Like, why can't you understand that there's more black and brown people who make less money because they have less privileges when they're growing up and they can't go to college, and that sort of snowball. They can't. How come they can't understand that? You know, we're reading something from this white man's perspective. This is how he thinks. Isn't this crazy? This wasn't his brain. This is how he sees the world. That upsets me more than anything. Is like, oh wow, how else are you looking at the world if this is how you perceive the most intimate relationship in your life? Something you actually give a shit about.
Right,
you know?
right,
That
right,
scares
right.
me. How many more people think like this in the world who look at immigrants working hard and be like, well, why can't they give me some of their shit? It's like, what are you talking about, man?
Yeah, it's very like Republican energy actually.
It's just like
It's just-
a lot of ignorance, a lot of like
It's
misinformation,
like-
scary shit.
Yeah, it's this whole expectation and like things. Maybe his life. I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't like this. Anyways,
yeah, man,
weird-
I don't like this.
I don't like this. I don't like it.
Anyways, I guess in conclusion,
I wonder what happened.
do
Do you think they divorced?
Yeah, I would say in conclusion,
Do you think they should divorce? What do you think?
I would like to get a hold of the wife and tell her to drop his ass. That would be my advice. My advice is for this man to give me his wife's number so I could tell her to divorce your ass because you're a fucking idiot. It's pissing me off. I gotta get out of here. This is pissing me off.
All right. Well, that was a fun one. That was like
That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was a good one. Well, that was our episode, folks. We hope you enjoyed it. Shout out to our sound engineer, Domagoy Ivan Chich, video editor, Matthias Robles, and our analyst, Holly Sandler. Thank you so much for helping
Thank
us every
you.
week. We want to hear about your spending habits and your financial conundrums that you're in. So email us at cashcutiespodcast@gmail.com and tell us about your financial situations and topics that you want to hear about.
And send us a voice memo if you want, if that's easier for you guys. We like listening to your voices. It's soothing most of the time.
Please follow us on all the socials at CashCutiesPod. We're on TikTok and Instagram. I'm also on there at the Fumi Abe. That's THEFUMIABE.
And I'm at Instagram, Baked Goods, BAKEDGUDS. And you could go on to my website, steffibake.com, and just email us. Also, like, let us know what you like about the podcast anywhere.
Oh, yeah. What else do you want to see?
Yeah.
If you have connections of people you want us to interview, let us know.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to get like a athlete, like a baseball player or some shit. I don't know. Just anything. Any job. If you know someone who you think is interesting, that's like a public figure or something like that, let us know. This is a team effort, y'all.
I love that.
I guess that's it. We'll see you guys next week. And until then, spend your money wisely.
Or don't. Have fun with it.
Bye.
Bye.